She believed love was supposed to feel safe, not exciting, not consuming, not loud. Safe, like a room where nothing suddenly breaks. Every morning began the same way. The low hum of the coffee machine, bare feet on a cold kitchen floor, the window half open, even in winter. He stood behind her sometimes, not touching, just close enough to be felt. And she liked that quiet closeness. His phone was always face down on the counter. That detail mattered to her more than she ever admitted. It felt like respect, like loyalty without words. He would kiss her forehead before leaving, slowly, deliberately, as if there was no hurry, as if there was no other life waiting for him outside that door. She watched him leave every morning, and in that small ritual she told herself, "This is love. This is stability. This is what people search for." She didn't need grand gestures. She didn't want drama. She wanted permanence. What she didn't know yet was that permanence can exist alongside absence. Some betrayals don't crash into your life. They settle into it quietly. Like furniture you stop noticing. The first doubt did not sound like a question. It sounded like a feeling. A slight pause before he answered her. A half second too long. She noticed it while brushing her teeth. In the car. Standing in line somewhere ordinary. He would listen, but not fully, as if part of him was already somewhere else. She couldn't name it. There was no evidence, no message, no scent of another life, just a softness in his voice that no longer belonged to her. He stopped telling her about his days, not dramatically, not suddenly, just less. Work stuff. Nothing important. Same old. She nodded. Because pressing for more felt like accusing, and she was not an accusing person. At night, he lay beside her. His body was warm, familiar, but his presence felt thinner, like a radio station losing signal. She would turn toward him in the dark, hoping he would do the same. Sometimes he did. Sometimes he didn't. And she told herself not to keep score, because love, she believed, was not about counting losses. But something in her chest tightened anyway. Quietly. She adapted without noticing. She stopped asking where he was going. Stopped wondering why his phone left the room when it rang. Stopped listening to the small voice inside her. Not because she was weak, because she was careful. She believed love required gentleness, that questions could bruise it. He said he was tired. She believed him. He said work was complicated. She believed him. He said he just needed space sometimes. She made room. Silence became her contribution to the relationship. She carried it like a gift, as if by saying nothing she could preserve what was left. But silence has weight. It settles on the chest. It changes the way you breathe. At night, she would replay conversations in her head. Not what he said, what he didn't. And slowly, she learned to translate absence into patience. She didn't know yet that endurance without truth slowly erases the self. The moment that changed everything did not arrive dressed as disaster. It arrived disguised as normal. A grocery store, bright lights, metal carts. She asked him what he wanted for dinner. A small question, a familiar one. He answered without thinking. She doesn't eat pasta. The words hung in the air. He froze, just for a second, but she felt it. Time slowed. He corrected himself too quickly, too smoothly. I don't eat pasta anymore. She smiled. That smile cost her more than she understood. Because in that silence, her body recognized truth before her mind did. There was another life, not loud, not reckless, careful, planned. A life that required consistency. A life that had been happening while she was protecting silence. That night, lying beside him, she didn't cry. She stared into the dark. and finally understood. The truth doesn't rush. It waits. After that night, nothing looked different. And that was the most disturbing part. The kitchen was the same. The mornings were the same. His voice still sounded gentle, but something inside her had shifted permanently. Knowledge does that. It doesn't shout. It settles. She began noticing details she once ignored. How carefully he managed time, how his absences followed patterns, how explanations were always reasonable, too reasonable. She didn't confront him, not yet, because once truth is spoken, there is no returning to not knowing. And she wasn't ready to lose the version of her life that still pretended to be whole. At night, she lay awake beside him, listening to his breathing. She wondered if the other woman did the same. If somewhere else, in another room, another life existed quietly alongside hers. She didn't hate him. That surprised her. She felt something colder. Distance. She waited weeks, not because she was weak, because she needed to be sure that the answer would not destroy her. One evening, nothing special about it, she asked quietly, "Is there something you haven't told me?" He didn't answer immediately. That was answer enough. He sat down, exhaled, as if he had been holding his breath for years. There was another woman, not a recent mistake, not a passing thing, a parallel life, and a child. A sentence like that doesn't land all at once. It arrives in waves. She listened, not interrupting. He said it wasn't meant to hurt her, that he never planned for it to grow this way, that he loved her. He said he didn't want to lose either life, and that was when she understood. This was not a moment of passion. This was logistics, carefully managed affection, love divided not by accident, but by convenience. She felt something crack inside her chest, not loudly, silently. She surprised herself. She didn't scream, didn't cry. She forgave him, almost immediately. Because forgiveness felt like control. It felt like strength. It allowed her to stay upright when everything inside her wanted to collapse. She told herself love was complicated, that people make mistakes, that families are not simple. She told herself forgiveness made her better, more evolved, more mature. He looked relieved. That mattered to her more than it should have. She didn't realize then that forgiveness without boundaries is not kindness. It is self-abandonment. She stayed. And with that decision, something inside her quietly stepped aside. Life continued, but she changed the way she existed inside it. She asked for less, expected less, needed less. At least she told herself that. She became understanding in advance, flexible before being asked. She edited her emotions before they reached her mouth. She stopped talking about the future, because futures require honesty, and honesty now felt fragile. Some days she caught herself wondering what version of herself he preferred. The quiet one, the forgiving one, the one who didn't complicate his life. And slowly, she became that woman. Until one day, standing in front of the mirror, she didn't recognize the expression on her own face. It wasn't sadness. It was absence. Love hadn't left her life. She had left herself. There was no explosion, no final argument. Just one morning she didn't feel anything when he kissed her goodbye. No warmth, no resentment, nothing. That frightened her more than pain ever had, because pain means something still matters. Emptiness means the decision has already been made. She realized she was surviving, not living. That love without presence is not love. It is habit. And she understood then. Staying had not made her strong. Leaving would. She left quietly. No speeches, no explanations, just a suitcase. And her name. The grief came later. Slow, heavy, but honest. She learned something important in the silence that followed. Love requires presence, not promises. Silence is also a decision. Truth delayed often hurts more than truth spoken early. Forgiveness is not the same as self-sacrifice. She didn't lose love. She lost herself. And then, slowly, she found her way back. Not the woman she was before. A wiser one. Some betrayals arrive quietly. Some endings do too. Pay attention to how you feel when you are silent. It may be telling you the truth you've been protecting yourself from.